Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics. I'm Frank Wolf, joined by Tom Prince and the lovely and talented Francis Beck in the office today. And I want to start off the show today by settling up a bet with Mr. Beck. Francis, yesterday you put a tweet out by WNY Athletics that we were going to be having a very special guest today.
I didn't even check it, so this will be a surprise to me.
Mr. Dale Musson, who used to be on the air every morning with WYRK. Dale's a legend in the media industry here in Western New York. A good friend of the show and a big supporter of WNY Athletics, and he's an official, and he's going to come and talk to us today and you folks about the importance of drawing new blood into that fraternity of officials. They're hurting; they need new blood in there. And I know one of our good buddies from Niagara Wheatfield was on the sideline last year. Xavier's dad. Remember the quarterback from
Fletcher?
Yeah, no, not Fletcher. The quarterback from Niagara Wheatfield years ago.
Oh, Parks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Johnny Parks, my man. I owe him some money, by the way. But Johnny Parks was out there last year, did a great job on the sidelines. So they need new blood, though. So let's hope, Dale's message to you folks today resonates and we get some new people on the sidelines working those games because it's very important. But with that, Francis sent the tweet out, and yesterday as we were walking out, I said, Francis, just tag WYRK. He used to work there. They follow us. Once they see Dale's doing the show with us, I know they're going to retweet. He's like, no, they're not. I'm like, yeah, they will. They'll do it. Trust me. And Francis goes, I'll give you $15 that says they don't do it. I think that's what you said. And I said, you said you give me $15 if they did it. And I said, I'll do you one better. I'll give you $20 if they don't do it. So Francis, they didn't do it. You got change for a 50?
No, I don't.
All right, we're gonna have to do it another time then, Francis. But I owe you $20, and I know you won't.
Is that your trick? You only have 50s, so you can't actually.
That's funny, you guys.
That's probably Monopoly money, anyways. But anyways, so WYRK, if you can retweet that from yesterday, anyone from WYRK, I don't care if you're a maintenance guy or someone that works at the station, if you can get someone that has access to the Twitter, retweet that out maybe before the end of the show. Maybe I can earn this $20 back and take 15 from Francis in the process. Because there is like a 24-hour, right?
Well, but the show has already started though. Like
he's not here yet. Dale's not here till 10 o'clock.
All right, fine. Do you want to make it 10 o'clock?
Yeah. Someone follow this along accordingly, please. It's a crazy week because you've got you had softball playoff start, track's running hard. We had the NFL's finish up. ECICs are off today. They're all over the place. ECIC, there's like 3 different ones. Where are they out running today? I might want to go. We never do track. We can't really broadcast track. We've been down that road before, folks. Don't even ask. We can't do it. We don't have the production ability to pull that off right now. We're working on it, work in progress. If someone else knows how to do it, by all means, hop out there and do it for us so we can, promote it. But anyways, Niagara Wheatfield did a great job. The boys and girls won. Nice story up on the Gazette by Joe Kraus, recapping that event. Niagara Wheatfield took first in boys and girls, and I know Lockport was second. Niagara Falls was third.
Now, Lockport has won the past 10 years. That means that means Niagara Wheatfield has stopped a 10-year run by Lockport.
Good for them. I don't know if that was upsetting or not. I don't know how far that Niagara Wheatfield track program has come. I got to tell you, I love their facility. Absolutely love what they've done up at Niagara Wheatfield. Francis, you'll be there Monday night, I'm told, right?
Yeah, we're gonna try to be there Monday. We're waiting to get final details, but we're gonna try to be up there.
Okay, very good.
We're just there for lacrosse, and
we've been there a number of times for lacrosse.
Yeah, we had Jack Bruiser there, and it was his first time. He was in awe of the place.
Oh, it's Mark Johnson, who does play-by-play for us, is a former Niagara Wheatfield Falcon. So we got some ties to the school. Of course, one of the first football games that we ever covered as an organization was Niagara Wheatfield at Will North. That was Jordan Park's coming up party. If you remember that. Were you there for that?
I don't think so.
I was there. I thought you were there too. Like you showed up late.
Okay.
Really, I thought that would have been in reverse there.
No, I was there for the whole game. Actually, that was one of the first times I talked to Dick Gallagher on the sideline. Was at that game.
Wow.
Said, you're in my way. Can you move?
Dick Gallagher would never say that.
I think he did.
Did he really?
Said, you're in my way, please.
Before we forget, we had a busy week this past week, starting at 11 o'clock Monday with that unified game between Kenmore East and Kenmore West. Absolutely fantastic. Stu and I were on the call for that one. Those kids were just having the time of their life. There was one kid, I remember, I'll never forget this one. We put it out on Twitter. He just a fadeaway 3, loops it up. This thing goes probably 30 feet in the air, falls in.
With the bandana?
I think so.
From Kenmore East, yeah.
Yeah, and literally the whole crowd just jumped out of their seats. I jumped out of my seats. I couldn't believe it went in. But it was a great event put on by Kenton. It was great to see.
Who won?
You already could tell by Francis' face who won.
I showed up in the dying seconds. I tried to get there earlier, but I couldn't get there as early as I wanted to, but I'm glad you guys were able to do that game. I saw the gym. It was packed. A lot of emotion in that gym for those unified games. Shout out to Lancaster, as they've got unified bowling coming up next year, and they also had a girls flag football, I read on Twitter in the last 24 hours, so that must have passed.
Yeah. Speaking of Lancaster, one news and note here. Lancaster football and girls lacrosse are hosting a mattress sale fundraiser tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. at the Elks Lodge in Legion Parkway.
Elks Lodge. So, is that where...
I imagine that's where they do the Trent's Trophy.
Yeah, I think that's the same place. I think that is the same place. Cool.
Unless there's another Elks Lodge in Lancaster, which I highly doubt.
Not that I'm aware of. Big place, though.
Yeah.
We were there for the Trent's Trophy last
So,
year.
my guess is the girls maybe are selling. They just had the football players there just a little bit. Because, I mean, just football players. No, I'm kidding. I play football.
You're saying you couldn't lift the mattress?
I could. No, I'm saying, you have the ladies out there. They're the ones actually with the brains behind the operation.
Oh boy.
We start
This had nothing to do with me. This does not have my name on it.
Anyways, baseball, the seating meeting is underway right now. But if you go to that Section 6 baseball website, there's a lot of teams that are already opting out, which is commonplace this time of year. You see that happen. We'll keep moving along. It's not officially up yet, right? The seats
No, the actual seatings are not up yet.
I think they're just calculating them right now.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I know the girls.
The girls started on Wednesday is when they
Your
started.
mic was off?
Yeah, my mic was out the whole time, so that's good.
It picked up, believe me.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, the girls' flag football seating meeting is also happening today, so we'll hopefully get that soon and put that out. We're going to try to get a couple of their playoff games. They're going to play a regional game at Highmark Stadium that'll be on June the 12th between Section 6 and Section 5, so that'll be cool to see.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, yeah. It'll be the Monday after states for pretty much everything else.
And then that'll be, then the 13th is the senior softball all-star game. The 14th is the boys senior all-star game. So we have a busy week that week.
Yeah.
What about June 19th, Tom? Do you want to talk about that? Preliminary?
No, well, yeah, I mean,
Oh, is that
I will,
confirmed?
but I didn't know if you were done, if Francis was done there.
No, that's it for me.
So June 19th, we're going to do something for the first time, is we're going to combo both the girls and boys player of the years is what we're going to do. So the boys player of the year is named the Colpoys Barrows Cup is what it is. And the girls one is the Sorrow Weiss Cup. Both of those will announce the player of the year, with the player of the year finalist being a part of it. And that will be June 19th on Monday, following the senior all-star games. And you're going to hear shortly, we're going to put out we really need your support and your help on this one. There are many expenses that have gone up that everybody knows about. It's hit our pocketbooks, so, wallets, everything, even if you just go to a grocery store. So it's now affected the dinner also. So to do this, to make this happen, we're going to need some support and some different sponsors for this. So please,
We'll have a gold package, silver package, bronze package type scenario. We'd like to have this banquet mimic. We did the Colpoys Barrows a couple of times already. We've put some banquets on. Our expenses have gone up, obviously. So we are looking for great. But it's going to be a tremendous event. And again, we're going to be honoring the top baseball and softball players from the 2023 season. And they're going to get very nice, beautiful awards. You go over the top at some of those trophies. I know the one kid couldn't even get in his car. That trophy you gave him, you couldn't even get it.
Brian Norson, our first winner.
You couldn't even get it to the door. You had to bring it in two pieces and put it together when you got there. How did you get that thing in there?
It was easy. You know me. If it fit in my
Taller
car,
than you. You're 6'5". It was taller than you.
6'5".
The trophy was bigger than him.
You know what though? We take a lot of pride in what we do, and that's the reason for it. It really is. And what I'm excited to is this is truly where we could kind of bring both sports together for one night, and both sports can recognize the other one. We've got so many talented young men and women that are in both these sports, and when you look at it, outside of maybe lacrosse, it probably produces those two sports produce the top athletes that go to Division I in our area. You know, lacrosse is another one that ranks right up there with them. But you're talking about as many as Division I athletes that get produced. These are your top sports right here.
I wouldn't disagree. But anyways, it's on the 19th. It's going to be at the Lake Erie Italian Club, which is in Lackawanna, just down the street from Ilio DiPaolo's, which is where we had the Dick Gallagher football banquet, as you remember from this past year. More details on that to follow in the coming days, coming weeks. Tomorrow, there is a championship rugby match at Sparky Adams Field in Kenton, town of Tonawanda, between Canisius and Kenmore Rugby. It's still not a state-sanctioned event. It's still club. But if you enjoy rugby, Sparky Adams is probably the place to be tomorrow. And I believe it's a 1 o'clock, do I say kickoff? What do they call it?
I don't know.
1 o'clock start. 1 o'clock start.
Yeah.
1 o'clock start. It's on a, is it on a pitch? Rugby, they call that a pitch? They call it a pitch. Is there work around? Can you text them while I'm
I
babbling?
don't know if he's around.
Well, text them while I'm babbling. But that's tomorrow.
We'll
1
find
o'clock,
out in 2 seconds.
And that should be. I'm not into. I've never really been exposed to rugby. I watched a little bit years ago when Kel Phillips' kid was playing. Kel, a good friend of the show. So I don't. I'm supposed to go to Biden's game tomorrow, but maybe I can sneak in the first half. We were trying to do that game. We wanted to stream it, but kind of 11th hour, we weren't able to get access into the press box, and we need the power in order to do this. So my apologies to the rugby clubs out there. I'll make it up to you next year during the season. We'll find a place that does rugby, and we'll demand that they let us in one of those press boxes, and we'll do a game. How about that?
All right, 1:30 kickoff. That's what I was
It
told.
is a kickoff?
Yeah.
Okay, sounded right.
And Matt O'Rourke will be there.
O'Rourke will be there. Okay, cool. So he'll be tweeting out what's up and go from there. Anyways, I also wanted to give a shout out to NCCC, got by ECC yesterday, 13-11. I don't know if that's like a best of 3 or single elimination. I thought it was a best of 3.
It
But
usually is at this
It was
point.
a 13-11 final, and it was back and forth. I want to say Connor Desiderio of ECC started that game for them. There's some recognizable Western New York athletes
all
at
over both
N-Trip and
those.
ECC. So, but they're way out in Auburn, New York, is where they're doing it this year. So, if you want to follow along, you can. They're out. Just go to NCCC's Thunderwolves, and there's a couple links on that Twitter page that will help you get to see those games or follow how the teams are doing. A lot of former Western New York All-Stars out there. Want to give a shout out to our old friend James Mallory, Kenmore West, standout athlete, football player, went to Central Connecticut State University, had a Hall of Fame career, and will be inducted into their Hall of Fame, I believe, this fall. Congrats to James Mallory on that honor. It's very rare, guys. You know, we have kids that are exceptional athletes here, right? And they come back and they'll get inducted into their respective high school Hall of Fames. It's rare that one of our top athletes are inducted into the Collegiate Hall of Fame for where they end up playing. Very rare. So this is a great honor for James, and proud to know you, buddy. Good job on a Hall of Fame career, not just at Kenmore West in Section 6, but also at Central Connecticut State University. And if he's not in the Section 6 Hall of Fame, well, maybe we should make a recommendation that he gets there as well. I'm sure he will get his due there down the road. I already congratulated Lancaster for putting their flag football and unified bowling programs together. I did want to give a shout out to WDOE down in Dunkirk, Greg Larson. I really enjoy listening to Greg call a baseball or a softball game. I don't know if you guys ever had the luxury. I think we've worked next to him at games in the past.
Yep.
Greg's a good guy. They got a tight budget down there like we do with WDOE, but they get to a number of games throughout the year, football, baseball, basketball, and so on and so forth. But he does a really good job down there. And he called the no-no against Roy Hart. Fredonia won. Jordan Lucas had the no-no there, and she had, I believe, a home run in that game. That's basically, but shout out to Greg Larson, does a great job. You can listen to them 94.9 or 101.5 if you're in that area, or just go to chautauquatoday.com, and I think they'll have the programming list up there so you can kind of tune in. And you might even be able to listen to them over the internet. So if you're a team traveling to Fredonia, go there, chautauquatoday.com, and you could probably listen to the game if you can't make it out there. And I don't know if they're hosting any more games or not. I believe they are.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be.
I think
some of the
Fredonia softball might have one more home game.
And
so.
Dunkirk baseball should get a game, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
So-
they'll still be going. There's no
Greg's
doubt
all
about
over
it.
that. So shout out to them. I'm done rambling for the day. I got all my news and notes. A little bit later today in the show, about 10 o'clock, Dale Musson, who I mentioned at the top of the hour, will be joining us. We haven't really talked a whole lot about football yet because it's really not in season, and we really should be talking about the other sports to give them their due. But as you guys know, and everyone else knows around this area, football is king. And that's really the start of the fall sports season. And we're looking, not just football, baseball and softball looking for umpires. Basketball's looking for officials.
So I was actually going to talk a little bit about that. I actually had a good talk with Norb, who's in charge of the baseball umpires, and they actually went on a spree last year and brought on 28 new umpires into the mix, and have done a very good job of recruiting and bringing in new people. He went back to some people that were part of the past, gave them different reasons, and things have really opened up for umpires, and I really believe that he's done a fantastic job to lead the way.
It's important. We're going to come back with that. Why don't we take a commercial break? Go get another cup of coffee, folks listening at home. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Welcome back to WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. Frank Wolf, Tom Prince, and Francis Beck. Got a text during the break there from Matt O'Rourke. He will be at Sparky Adams Field covering that event for us. Thank you very much, Matt. Matt doesn't just do wrestling. He's a huge rugby advocate, too. I'm almost positive he's going down to, Virginia to cover something down there. They're bringing him into Virginia to cover some huge rugby event down there. So, he's all over the place, but his work is exceptional. So, what else? He was telling me, the DePaulo Awards are next Tuesday. He'll be there. The USA Club Rugby in St. Louis soon. Is that what you're doing? Oh my gosh, man, he's going all over the place. I don't know how his wife's gonna kill him for all the traveling he does. Bring your wife with you, dude. That's what I would do. I wouldn't bring your wife. I would.
We got the point.
You guys get the point? All right, good. Anyways, that's that. We're talking Dale Musson in just a little bit here. He's the representative. He's the treasurer secretary for the local football officials organization here in Western New York. Tom, did you ever consider becoming an official at any point in your life? Have you ever officialed? I'm sure you've umped games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, I've umped a lot of games. In fact, I umped one this year for Orchard Park because they didn't have umpires.
Yeah.
It was the Orchard Park Pioneer game. They didn't have umpires, and they asked me, would you mind going out there? And I went out and did the game. So you can add umpire to the list for what I've done for high school this season. It's tough. Listen, the stories that you're going on, there are too many people that really have just gotten over the top with umpires, and it's becoming harder and harder. But
I you know what, I remember growing up as a kid playing sports or whatever, being around sports and in high school events and lower. I've always heard people shouting at umpires that you're blind, that was a horrible call. That's all part of the umpire or the official's experience. You're going to have hecklers. But what we've seen with social media, people with their phones out, it's like everyone wants to get on camera saying or doing the dumbest of, just acting poorly. Some of the worst behavior you've seen. But I swear I've seen stuff like that as a kid growing up. I've seen people go after officials. I've seen people berate them in their
no
face.
doubt. And you're right. The difference is social media and cameras, because you didn't hear about it, right? Because it had to go by word of mouth.
Sure.
Now it could be viral in 2 minutes. But here is the difference that I'm seeing more and more, and really where the problem exists is people seeking out umpires in the parking lot, people trying to follow them off the field. Those are the issues right now that we've got to put a stop to, because if we keep doing it, there's not going to be any officials left.
Absolutely. I look at it this way. When you sign up to become an official or an umpire, you're trained on how to deal with unruly spectators, right? You're not necessarily trained on how to defend yourself in a parking lot when you got these guys coming after you because you threw their kid out, or you called a personal foul here or whatever.
Or you just called a strike that was a little bit out of the zone. I mean, it's ridiculous what some of these people are going after.
You're not trained to do that. But at the beginning of the season, okay, parents, don't they sign a waiver with these schools? I'm almost certain.
Yeah, they all. There's a parent code of conduct.
Okay.
Yes.
Are these enforced in any way, shape, or form? And what's the line in the sand? I mean, if you're going to make a bad call, and a parent wants to tell you made a bad call, okay, you're going to swear, you got to get tossed right then and there. You use foul language, you got to be tossed, right? Escorted out, and if you make a scene and act like a jackass on the way out, you lose your season tickets, you lose your credentials, you don't get to come back. You're done for either the school year or that particular, fall season, winter season, what have you. But we have to start holding the parents or spectators accountable. I think if we do that, Tom and Francis, we have less and less issues at the fields, at the rinks, at the ballparks, if we start holding people accountable for their actions. If we don't start holding people accountable, we're going to continue towards this trend, and eventually someone's going to get really hurt.
I don't disagree, and I do agree with some sort of accountability. The problem is how do we make them accountable, right? Like, even though you say
each school has a representative there.
But hold on. Right? Because you're not asking just the school to do that. Like, if let's just say it's Grand Island's got somebody, right, that was a problem. How does Niagara Falls enforce it? How does Niagara Wheatfield enforce it? How does Lockport enforce it? That's part of the issue right there.
We're paying a lot of money in taxes. School taxes, county taxes, whatever. Put a cop, put law enforcement at the field.
That's... I get no. I'm with you.
We're paying a ton of money.
I know we are, but all of them will tell you that all their budgets are strapped. They'll all tell you that.
I don't want to hear that. you're right.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that. Something terrible is going to happen, and then we're going to have to react to it. Why do we have to wait for something terrible to happen? These officials, for the most part, do a good job. They do. They know, for the most part, they know the rules better than the spectators. Let's just put that.
Well, absolutely,
they know the
100%.
rules.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and they're right there on the field. You know, and Dale can explain this, what the different officials do on the football field. Not every official is watching what you think they're watching. You know, you got a back judge, you got a line judge. They're looking for different things.
Absolutely.
Right? So when dad or mom up there call them out for something that they didn't see, it may not have even been up to them to make that call. They could be arguing with the wrong official. Either way.
It's funny. I actually think the football officials don't hear necessarily everything going on the stand versus a baseball or softball official, where you are literally 5 feet from right on top of these, these
Riverside High School,
spectators.
that's not a fun place to do it.
No, it's not. But I
or a
still
coach.
think it's not as prevalent, right? You can block out what's happening that's in that stands
And you
versus
have to.
somebody.
When you're in
Yeah.
that job, you have to block out that noise. I've been to.
I will tell you, here's one thing I think that should be considered that has happened at a lot of the Little League programs, that area behind home plate get blocked off. That area behind home plate needs to be blocked off so you can't have spectators sitting there. I think that will help with some of the
Well, you've got
issues.
at least 7 fields that I know that have almost stadium-like seating where they have bleachers there.
Well, that's, again, but you're also much farther away. You know what I mean? Because you're getting up into
You're
the
not on the
bleachers.
fence.
I'm talking about those people that are right on that fence.
That's St. Francis, is it not? Don't
St.
they have
Fran-
them right there?
I can go 20 fields that have them right
Just
there.
fine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like just about every field does. Again, these are things to consider, and I think there are a lot of things to consider at this point.
Who do you think takes more heat? I'm asking you, and then I'll ask Francis for your opinion. The basketball official, the hockey official, the football official, or someone on the baseball, softball umpire? Out of all those organizations, groups, who takes it the worst? And I'm only staying those sports because they're the most popular.
I think it's basketball 1, baseball, softball 1A.
Okay. Francis?
I would say, who takes it the worst? Probably the softball, baseball, just because of the proximity. Like for hockey, for example, those parents we know they can be pretty bad, but at least you're kind of removed from it. You have the glass, and the way the sound kind of echoes through some of those rinks, I don't know
Yes.
if you necessarily hear it all.
That's a good point.
Obviously on the way out, that can be kind of weird with some rinks, but in terms of like in the game, I would probably say baseball, softball, just because of the proximity of, there's just a fence or even just netting in between you. Otherwise than that, you can hear everything.
And basketball, I got nothing.
Yeah, actually, basketball.
They're right on top of you sometimes. I mean, the ref is literally here. I'm standing, and the ref's right in front of me, right in some of those places.
Should they put more cameras for monitoring behavior?
I mean, they're there. They're all there.
They're there. The cameras are there.
Yeah, most of these schools now have a.
They're on the
some kind of
field
camera.
though. I don't necessarily know if they're on the bleachers, and that might be a little over the top. But again, we're
Wait a
trying to
minute, but,
help.
I mean, people know what's going on. I mean, there's. I mean, you gotta remember these schools have. I mean, you mentioned putting security guards there. There are school support staff that they are there as security. There's usually it's teachers or teacher aides who get a
they
little
can't-
stipend.
Yeah, but you know what,
Yeah, but
Francis?
you don't want
They're-
a teacher or someone like that getting involved with having to
Right,
eject
and they're
people.
monitoring the
then they-
kids. They're monitoring the
Right,
kids is
right,
what
yeah.
their job is, not the parents.
A little bit of both. They're responsible for both.
I think
They're there though. You look at them; they're standing in front of the student section. Is where they're
I
standing in
think
front
you
of.
put someone there with a badge. I think that carries a lot
you
more
can,
weight.
and they do sometimes, but they cost more than putting a
They do, and
teacher there.
They do. They certainly do. I understand that. You could also get like a private security form, private security
You could. I
Get
don't know.
private
I mean,
security at these games if you want to. I might be a little over the top here. What I'm trying to save, though, I'm trying to save something terrible from happening. Their attitudes are worse than they ever were, right? Because of the social media thing. You know, and it's not just the parents. Some of these kids at games, you've been to these games, you see these kids, there's fights in the parking lots. They're going after each other. Cheerleaders are getting into fights. I mean, we're going beyond the officials now. But there's not enough security at some of these games. And some schools have a worse reputation than others, of course. And it's well documented, and the section knows, the schools know. That's where you put more security, maybe. But I think it comes down to accountability. You sign those waivers at the beginning of the season. If you're a parent, you sign it. But if you're Joe Blow coming in, or grandma or grandpa, or an aunt and uncle, or a big brother, we've seen older brothers hop fences. Didn't we see that, Francis? We've seen older brothers hop fences to get on the field to go after people. But anyways, we need to start holding these people accountable. You sign the waiver, you know, you go to that GoFan or whatever to get your ticket before the game. There should be something on there, on the GoFan. Check this.
I'm sure there is.
The only time they use that GoFan is for sectionals.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's one spot, but when you go in there, you put your email address, right? Or you put your cell phone number so they know who you are.
I mean,
So when you go to try and get into another game, like, no, we're not selling you this ticket.
Well,
can't
but you
get
can
in.
buy. I think you can buy multiple tickets with it.
There's ways for sure, but we have to find a way to hold people accountable that are going to act like jackasses at these games with their behavior, specifically towards officials, and then and of course towards each other, and coaches too. Coaches take they take a lot of heat too. I've heard parents from the top bleachers screaming at their own head coach because Johnny is at the end of the bench, not in the game. You hear it all the time.
Not to take a hard right turn here, but Tom, you mentioned before the show you had a couple upsets in softball.
Well, I still had a news and notes that I still.
Oh, you did.
News and notes too.
News and notes. It's over past 9:30.
Well, I want to throw a special shout out to Silver Creek head coach Mike Janish, who now becomes, with 510 wins, the most winningest coach in Chautauqua County history.
Saying a lot.
Yeah, it absolutely does. With a win, Silver Creek defeated Brockton 7-2, and Mike Janish, as you remember, got his 500th win earlier this season, and I was down there for that and got a chance to witness that one.
Cool. And you were sweating bullets.
It was a major comeback for them to win that game, which was great.
I'm going to say something real fast, and you guys aren't going to like this. No, you guys, we did that game, or we talked about that. And someone put something on Facebook on that, like, oh, congratulations to this guy. He's been around for 50 years, blah blah, never won anything, blah blah. How do you even post that? Why would you even post that? We're celebrating a guy who has given his life to high school athletics, giving him a compliment, and some jerk out there has to post, this guy's been around forever. Just delete your account. Why do we have to do that to each other?
And it's always a burner.
Why?
It's always a burner account who does it. Somebody who's hiding their identity, doesn't even tell you who they are. It's always somebody, right? And it's I hate to say it, but the nature of where we want to go negative more than we want to go positive, which is something that the three of us have tried to change here in high school sports because we try to stay positive.
It's sad and pathetic. Let the guy have his moment. What have you done for 30 years? Have you helped anybody in high school sports for 30 years? Have you ever held the door open for a woman at a grocery store? Those are the type of guys, and there's women too, and we get it from moms and dads, but they have to comment negatively when someone does something good. Why do we tear each other down?
No,
Let the guy or the girl have their moment.
I don't disagree with that comment. No, I don't disagree with that comment at all. It's unfortunately we see it more often than not, and it's always, why isn't my kid there? Why isn't this there? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Whatever it is, like, listen, we're trying our best, just like that coach is trying.
You have a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's not WNY Athletics.
No.
But people would think it's your full-time job.
Yeah.
I got a full-time job. It's not WNY Athletics, but people think it's WNY Athletics. You got a full-time job.
And it is WNY Athletics.
Blaming you. But you can't be everywhere. You can't do everything. Tom, you can't be everywhere. You know, I think this past year we had almost 45, 46 different people that performed a service for WNY Athletics, whether it was photography, videography, audio, production, whatever. And that's 46 people that gave a bit of their time to help us move this platform forward, to highlight your sons, daughters, coaches, whatever. Congratulations to the coach at Silver Creek. It's an incredible accomplishment. Not too many people will reach it, but the time and that you've given high school sports should be commended. And if you're going to make a comment that's in a negative way, just don't. Just don't. You know better.
I couldn't have said any better. And to those 45 people that have given time,
46
or 46, I apologize. And Frank, you're going to be a testament to this. I mean, most of these people, they're lucky if they got anything for a game, it wasn't even enough gas money for you to go to the game. So do not think anybody is making any money here whatsoever, right? And there's a reason why this gentleman right here has put more money than I could ever imagine into this, and it's his own money. You've got myself that gives all their time there, that doesn't want that. And Francis is the same thing. The hours that gentleman has put in, right, it does not equate to what we're talking about out here as far as any sort of compensation. So, and listen, if you think a coach is getting compensated some amount of time for the amount they pay, you're crazy, because they aren't getting anything for the amount of time and it's taken for them to do what they need to do to put a team out on the field. So I'm off my soapbox now. So now Francis down.
Well, one quick thing. Earlier in the week, you noticed the UConn hat here. We said goodbye officially, finally, to Roger Weiss on the 18th, Thursday. There was a wonderful ceremony out at was it Lakeside Cemetery? Is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. He's entombed there. Really cool. Diana was there, his wife. It was a tremendous service. He had the motorcade there. He's entombed there, and it says Inside High School Sports on it. Diana put all his credentials in there.
Yep. Credentials. It says UConn shirt is in there. He's
no garbage plate.
That would have been.
I would have put the menu.
You know what I would have did is just put the plate that maybe he last ate from on there is what it would be, the empty plate, because it's always going to be empty after Roger was on there.
Ken Rickers basketball invitational in Roger's memory. I believe it's June. No,
it's going to be early November.
November. But he's got his golf outing, I want to say June 3rd. Ken Ricker, hop on his Facebook page, you'll see it. She's in the game. I told him we couldn't get down there and golf, but we might be able to get down there and do a dinner if there's no real commitments live streaming, but that's June 3rd. We'll have to get back. I think they're still looking at whole sponsorships. We got one for sure. I think we're going to take another break. Again, we did say goodbye to Roger, and it was a great showing. Chad from Center Court was there, who tipped us off that his Center Court Classic was going to be at Will South this year. And I know at least one of the matchups, two matchups I know for sure.
Canisius,
Niagara Falls, and then Timon versus Victor. Yeah. He said we can say a couple, not all of them. I think Randolph Salamanca.
Oh, wow, I was going to stick with two teams down
Maybe he didn't want us to tell you that one. Sorry, Chad. Anyways, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a second. WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. Frank Wolf, Tom Prince, Francis Beck will be back after a word from our sponsors.
With exclusive buyer insights and our 100% money-back guarantee, we're confident we'll find buyers for your home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective pediatric care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
All right, welcome back, High School Sports Saturday. Frank going to be back in a second. Tom, you said, hey, do we want to wait for Frank before you do this last part? Next part?
Well, no, I mean, we can get it because we got to also get into some softball before we get there and some baseball real quick. But I want to give an update out to one of my close friends, Colt Matz. As you guys know, we've been doing tons of stuff to bring you updates on Colt, and I want to get you the latest update right there. And unfortunately, they got back the biopsy or the bone marrow results, and at this point, they want to do another aggressive round of chemo to give him a better chance of taking the bone marrow transplant. So this poor young man that's been through more than we've ever imagined now is going to take another step with chemo, an aggressive round of chemo, before he's going to be able to go through a surgery for a bone marrow transplant. So Western New York, with me, please give Colt your thoughts and prayers, because this is just an amazing young man that has fought like I've never seen another young man fight before. And keep him in our thoughts, prayers, everything that he fights through this. And tomorrow, when we actually do the baseball playoff preview show, we're going to get a chance to talk to another young man that's going through a fight himself. And we're going to leave that to tomorrow because I'm excited. We're going to talk to Tyler, who is in almost the same type of boat that Colt's in, but we're going to give Tyler his recognition tomorrow on these playoff preview shows. So I'm excited about that too. So real quick, Francis, let's get to some of the brackets that are going on, because softball started on Wednesday is when everything started for them, right? So if you look at the Class A1 bracket, everything stood still. The top 4 seeds advance. Niagara Wheatfield will take on West Seneca West, and Will East will take on North Tonawanda in the semifinals of the Class A1. A2, same exact thing. All the seeds held. West Seneca East will take on Kenmore East, and Will South will take on Grand Island, as everything held serve right there in the A class. In the B class, we had some upsets happen along the way, and both of the upsets really seem to come from the 6 and 7 seeds. So if you take a look right now, number 1 seed Depew advanced over Cheektowaga. They're going to now take on rival Lakeshore, who did, in essence, you can call it an upset, as a 5 seed beat number 4 seed. And then this is where the upsets come in. Iroquois is the 7 seed, defeats Olean. What we saw was a lot of small ball in that there. Really took the small ball to a new level and comes up with a big win as they upset Olean to advance. And then East Aurora, you remember, we talked about East Aurora, right? And how dangerous they were going to be on the playoff show. And guess what? They did exactly what we said could happen, as they defeated Alden 11-0 to advance. So you've got the 2 upsets right now in East Aurora and Iroquois that will take on each other to go to a final. And then Depew will take on Lakeshore. That is going to be some fun ones. That's 4 great teams that no doubt is going to make a final that's going to be fantastic inside the B1. And then the B2, we're still...
No, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be
so,
fun, yeah.
So we got, I mean, listen, a couple things we talked about. We said, watch out for Southwestern over the number 1 seed, right? That came to fruition as Southwestern advanced. We told you the Akron-Eden game should be an absolute barn burner. It was 11-8 in that one. Fredonia behind Jordan Lucas, this woman is phenomenal outside on the mound. They win 11-0. She throws a no-hitter in that one. And then we told you how good Falconer is as they beat Allegheny Limestone 16-1. Fredonia Falconer is going to be an absolute absolute fantastic matchup. And then you've got number 4 Akron taking on Southwestern, which should be another great matchup. Watch out, this Akron team is absolutely for real. This should be a fantastic final. But that semifinal, Fredonia Falconer, is going to be something to watch, folks. Don't miss out on that one. And then inside Class C, we pretty much again had the seeds, all the seeds hold serve. So we've got 1 through 8 right now in the quarterfinals. Number 1 Portville versus number 8 Cattaraugus Little Valley. Number 4 Chautauqua Lake will take on JFK. Number 2 Randolph will take on number 7 Gowanda. And Wilson, number 3, will take on number 6 Silver Creek. And we'll see some big games right there. The one to watch there is I can't wait to see that number 3-6 matchup, Wilson Silver Creek. I think that's going to be a real fun one to watch out inside the Class D. C, I apologize. And in Class D, we actually saw the same exact thing. All the serves held serve. Westfield will now take on number 8 Maple Grove. Number 4 Ellicottville will take on number 5 North Collins. Number 2 Barker will take on 7 Forestville, and number 3 West Valley will take on number 6 Sherman Clymer. Again, I love that number 6-3-6 matchup with West Valley and Sherman Clymer, and I love that number 4-5 matchup with Ellicottville North Collins. I believe those are going to be the 2 best matchups in D, and that gets us all totally up to speed right now on Section 6. Monsignor Martin, we do have the semifinals set there. We've already announced that, though, but we're actually going to see St. Mary's take on Mount St. Mary's, and then we're going to see Nardin take on Sacred Heart, and those are your 2 semifinal matchups.
All right, so before we take our break, because our guest has just arrived, I'll mention with the boys lacrosse playoffs are already underway. You can check those out. Sections and girls and boys playoffs brackets have been released on section6lacrosse.com. You can check that out. In the boys, Lancaster gets the 1 seed. They are buying to the final in Class A. Class B, Orchard Park gets the number 1 seed. Those semifinals will be on the 24th. That will be Wednesday. And then Class C, Lakeshore, number 1 seed, and Class D, East Aurora, the number 1 seed. That's for the boys. And then the girls, Lancaster again, number 1 seed. Class B, it's Orchard Park. So Lancaster, Orchard Park get both the boys and girls top seeds in lacrosse. Class C, Hamburg's going to get the 1 seed, and Class D, once again, it's East Aurora for the girls. So check those out, section6lacrosse.com. We're going to try to get some semifinals game in Friday for the boys on their end, and then of course we'll have the finals all on the NFHS network. We're going to release the schedule pretty soon of all the games we're going to try to do next week, so be sure to subscribe to that page so you're all set for playoff week or sectional final week, which is next week.
So real quick, just to finish things off baseball before we go to the break, we will see those brackets come out today. So the final brackets come out today. I'll tell you just real quick that I want everyone to realize some of the fun things we're going to see. First of all, let's talk about the number 1 seed in AA will be Orchard Park. But I'll tell you, the 4-5 matchup to me is going to be a fantastic matchup when it plays out. Williamsville North takes on Clarence. I think that is going to be an absolute great game to watch. In A1, Will East will end up being the number 1 seed. And then you've got the number 2 seed Hamburg, 3 seed Niagara Wheatfield. No matter what, I'm going to love that Hamburg-West Seneca West matchup. Every year we talk about it. West Seneca West has made a run every single time. Watch out, Hamburg, don't overlook West Seneca West. That should be a very fun matchup in that one. Amherst leading the way in the A2 area. Amherst, Will South, no doubt, are probably some of the top teams we're going to see there. And it looks like for A2, we're only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. So Amherst should get a bye. Will South will need to take on West Seneca East is what we'll need to do to move on. We'll see how those playoffs actually come out. B1, the top honors are going to go to City Honors. They'll be the number 1 seed. Depew will be the number 2 seed. 3 Dunkirk, 4 Maryville, 5 Pioneer. Maryville Pioneer split this year. That is going to be a fantastic matchup to be able to see how that plays out. But we talked about this on air. B1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams inside that conference. 14, right? And number 13 seed Newport has got to win over Niagara Falls. Right?
Pretty good.
So don't think they can't do this. And Cheektowaga has got a pitcher in Matt Barr that you know is the quarterback over at Cheektowaga that could absolutely do something on the mound and make something happen. Watch out. If you overlook any of these smaller seeds, or higher seeds, I should say, watch out. They're going to bite you right there. Springville having an absolute great year, leading the way with B2. And you're going to see Springville, Olmsted number 2, Akron number 3, Fredonia 4. I love what we're seeing from Akron right now. The first time, right, Akron has won in over 40 years. And I told you, we did this on there. They won their league, the Niagara Orleans, first time in over 40 years. The last time they won, their head coach was a junior outside on that team.
Was a what?
Was a junior on that team.
Okay.
40 years ago, head coach was a baseball player when they won Niagara Orleans last, right? And look at this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 seed will be Medina. Do you want to see 9 seed Medina?
Nope.
Right? You want to see Aiden Paul come to the mound at you and be able to be a 9 seed? That's the kind of stuff we're seeing. Or how about Southwestern? Southwestern's got their own stud right there. They're an 8 seed. Right? I mean, unbelievable what we're seeing from some of the lower seeds right here. What to expect? How about Roy Hart? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roy Hart's a 6 seed. And could have a player in Thomas Russo that could be up for Player of the Year. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about 6, 8, 9. Any of these teams can easily advance into this tournament. Watch out. B2 is going to be something to watch. C, no doubt, with Gowanda real quick is the number 1 seed. We go Portville number 2. I love the 1-2s in this one. Watch out. CSP at number 4 is very dangerous, and so is Frewsburg at number 3. I like the first 4 seeds in this one right out there. And then the last one is D. You've got Maple Grove number 1, North Collins number 2, Franklinville number 3, and Brockton number 4.
All right, we'll hear much more from Tom tomorrow on our Western New York Athletics Baseball Playoff Preview Show. That's tomorrow, 2 o'clock. We are inviting in 24 players leading their teams into the postseason, as well as you'll hear more of Tom's fantastic analysis of our playoff brackets when they are officially released and set in stone. But right now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Dale Mussins. He's going to tell you how you can become an official. This is High School Sports Saturday.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
Welcome back to WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. I'm Frank Wolf with Tom Prince and Francis Beck, and we're joined now with by Dale Musson, formerly of WYRK and a media legend here in Western New York. He is also with Western New York certified officials, football officials.
Right.
Western New York. He represents Western New York, Erie County, Niagara County, and Orleans County. Did I get that right?
Erie, Niagara, and Orleans counties.
Okay.
Yeah.
I sort of got that right. We have his microphone on, right, Francis?
Yeah.
We were getting yelled at earlier because you didn't have my mic on, which is probably a good thing. But anyways, before we get to Dale, and we had a really heated discussion in here about the way officials are treated and things like that. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But just to remind people, on Wednesday, July 26th, the Connolly Cup 50th anniversary party out at Fontana's Grove, 3 to 7. It's on the Connolly Cup Facebook page. All the news and notes are there on how to register and how to get a ticket. But if you never won the Connolly Cup, if you were just a big fan of high school football, you're invited to come and join us. So this was Dennis Sarro's baby, the late, great Dennis Sarro, chairman of the Connolly Cup, who passed away. He really wanted to have this 50th anniversary party, and we're going to see it through. But that'll be Wednesday, July 26th. 3 to 7, Fontana's Grove. Check out our Facebook page or the Connolly Cup for more details on that. And then that Friday, the Kensington Lions Club game, Friday, July 28th. They got the girls' flag football, and then the boys' game to follow, the Senior All-Stars right after that. So that's going to kick off the high school football season. July 26th, Connolly Cup 50th anniversary party. We hope to see you there.
I'm on the crew for that All-Star game.
You always are on the crew.
That's
I see
right.
you out there. Are you the head official normally for that game?
We kind of rotate that.
Okay.
This year, it's John Drobitz is going to be the head official.
Do you guys flip a coin to see who's going to get that game? How do you guys
No,
decide?
it's assigned. It's
Okay.
assigned. Yeah, Paul Trubinsky, one of our longtime officials, who's now in basically our Hall of Fame, he's the assigner for that game.
Okay. All right. Dan Feinekane does a phenomenal job, by the way.
Finucane.
Finucane?
Finucane.
I butcher that poor guy's name week in, week out. But anyways, he always gets us the officials because we go out and we live stream a bunch of the games.
Right.
And he's always getting us the officials like by Wednesday, which is great. And we get them out to our on-air personnel, and they recognize these officials and make sure that they get their just due, so people know who they are. And
Yeah, Dan's got a tough job, and he
I'm
does
sure.
it very well.
So we were talking a little bit off the air. There's your group, and then there's the Southern Tier group.
Mm-hmm.
They handle Chautauqua and Cattaraugus County. You guys do some commingling. You guys feed them officials throughout the year when they're short.
Yeah, well, for varsity games, they require 5-man crews, and once in a while they come up short, and we send down some of our guys, and often it's some of our probationary officials, our second or third year officials, and they do an incredible job. So every varsity game is a 5-man crew, and we have in our organization we've got about 117 certified officials, 117, and if you consider that there are some Friday nights with 20 games, that means 100 officials will be required. So we have to dig into and dip into some of our probationary officials because we only have about 90 veteran varsity officials at this point. You know, it's a crisis. It's a crisis among every sport across the country, not just here.
What's the biggest factor for the numbers being where they are right now? Because this is a huge push all over New York State. You see the tweets from New York State Public High School's Twitter feed, Francis, always looking for officials. They're doing more now to bring more attention to officials, celebrate them, congratulate the officials, or it's Officials Week, Officials Month, Officials Day, what have you. I want to talk about how you got involved first, where that started, what the process is, how long of a process it is, how do people get involved, why do they get involved, and then what scares people off. So that's a whole lot there to digest.
That's a lot. Well,
why don't we start with how you even got involved? What attracted you to this in the first place?
Well, as you know, I've covered Sabres and Bills games for decades. And I was in the press box of a Sabres game one time, and I said, that must be a hard job to do. It must be kind of cool to be a sports official in hockey or whatever. And a guy sitting next to me, another reporter, he said, they're always looking for officials to do high school games. I said, really? He said, yeah, there was an article in whatever, some tabloid, and he gave me the address and the phone number of who to contact. I contacted him, and he said, hey, yeah. He gave me all the information on where to go, what to do, and I'm entering my 38th year now, and I love it, and I dread the day when I have to give it up.
Is it just football for you?
Just football for me. Although I would have loved to officiate lacrosse too. I think that's a great game. And I would have played lacrosse if it was offered back when I was in high school. But because of my time constraints and the demands that I had with my job, I just couldn't do more than 2 sports. And I couldn't do that to my wife either.
Yeah. Well, and Tom will attest to this. We see a number of football officials on the court during basketball season. Right. And then we'll even see them, like you mentioned, doing some of those lacrosse games. I don't know if we have a lot of football officials that also umpire. Tom, have you seen that? I haven't seen that, but
yeah, we have some.
Okay, that's incredible. That's incredible. So that's how you got involved. And is the money much better today than it was when you started?
Oh yeah, sure it is. But when you consider that entering the fall, varsity officials will make $105 a game.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
But
2 hours of work, 2.5.
Well, yeah,
closer to 3, I would say.
For a varsity game, about 2.5. About 2.5 for a varsity game. But we're required to be there 90 minutes before for pregame.
Yep.
And of course, there's the mandatory postgame, which is our favorite watering hole, which is always something we encourage all of our guys to attend. It's always a lot of fun.
Is that okay? So while we're on the subject of watering holes, which I love, do you guys all from all the different games from the area all go to the same place?
Sometimes
that's cool.
There are some places where we might have 6 crews. Wow. Yeah, that's 30 guys. Wow. 30 guys at one place, and it's just a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, the guys that we have in our organization are among my best friends. Okay. They're just great guys and come from all walks of life. Policemen and firemen and teachers and disc jockeys. We had a priest. We had, from all walks of life.
Francis.
People that work in the trucking industry. Everything.
That's amazing.
How about you guys? Have you ever been interested in officiating?
I don't know.
It sounds like a no.
I don't know if I would ever say no, but I would tell you this, just like because you see the call for bus drivers all the time.
Mm-hmm. That was another thing I was going to touch on.
I don't know if I could do that now, but maybe in like 10 years, maybe I could do something. I don't know if it would necessarily be lead a crew. I don't know the rules well enough, and I know you go through the classes, but I mean, there's such a shortage of the school bus drivers and then officials. Maybe in 10 years, we'll see. You never say never. Dale, I learned one thing in life. You never say never.
Right. I was going to mention that there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that basically said that nasty parents are the biggest reason that most new officials quit.
Okay.
Barry Mano, he's the founder and president of the National Association of Sports Officials. And in the article, he said a recent survey found that of every 100 officials who sign on to officiate, only 30 are left by the 3rd year.
Wow.
That's less than a third that we're able to get in the door who are still around after 3 years. And really, that kind of reflects the experience that we have too. I mentioned earlier that we had, in the last year, we had exactly 100 people express an interest. So that's an inquiry. They leave their name and they leave their email address with us. And every inquiry I respond to. I'm the secretary treasurer of the organization, and I respond to every one of them. I say, well, okay, we take registrations beginning December 1st each year, and our classes are always February and March. And that's the way we do it. It would seem that we should do it in the summer, but it just doesn't work. Sure. The summer and the spring classes just don't work. So we've been doing this for as long as I've been in the organization. We always do our classes in February and March. So of that 100 people who inquired, I let them, every one of them know our classes begin at such and such a date, at such and such a time, and at this location. And 27 responded. 27 showed up. And of that 27, we had 13 graduate the class. Okay. So what is it about the commitment? Is it people just figure that it's not for them? We're not sure. But we're trying to get people in the door. When we get them in the door, we can at least start with them.
So, Dale, I do have a question because I do think the other sports do things a little differently than football does, right? And I'm going to point to baseball, softball, soccer as some of the models that are out there.
Right.
I do think that they do a better job down in the youth programs. In other words, they're getting kids as little as 14 years old, right, involved in their umpiring, in their reffing of soccer, all those different things. Is there a way, because they use officials, a lot of these youth programs that are all adult officials that are a part of this, right?
I know.
So maybe there's a way that you can start influxing some of the youth, even whether it's some of the varsity football players, whatever it may be, that has got some good idea, good handle on the rules, and start them at a younger age in those games.
Great idea. It's a great idea. Minimum age, though, is 18.
Right. Well, see, but that's what I'm saying is in the other sports, they're not. Right. They use they use youth down in those areas.
In youth sports, but not in high school sports.
Correct. Oh, I'm talking about youth sport. But what I'm saying is those youth sports have now become feeder programs into those, Western New York umpires for soccer, for softball, for baseball. They'll all tell you that's where a lot of their experience is now coming from, because it's somebody who's done it, experienced it, lived it, and then be able to say, hey, I want to keep doing this.
Just like the volunteer fire companies, they have junior programs. I mean, and that's a feeder program. It's a great idea. I love it. I don't know how we could incorporate that into our Constitution, among New York State schools. I don't know how that could happen.
Well, are you linked to any of those umpire associations that do the youth football programs?
We do youth programs.
Okay, so I think that's where it's got to come. Like it's got to come, but they're only youth. They don't do high school, right?
Yes,
only
right.
youth.
So Dennis Serro always talked about this. Why isn't this an accredited class in college, like a junior college or a college class? Let them get credit for it. Where they get into the classroom and at least teach, maybe not so much the hands-on, or maybe it's part of the class, I don't know, but let kids sign up for it, take it as a class, and become certified officials through their JUCO school, their college class, or even at the high schools.
Right.
Like, maybe we could draw them in, and I'm like, Dennis, this is a brilliant idea. Make it a club at the high school level. You're not necessarily doing high school games. You're not ready for that, but at least bring someone like yourself and Dale, or someone from the officials that teaches the class. Bring them into the high schools. Absolutely, bring them into the JUCOs and offer it as a class, as an accredited course. Give them a credit or 2 credits, and they learn that way. And then you can kind of pull them out. And then they can go back to wherever. Like, do you have to be certified in New York State to be in your organization?
Yes.
Is it can you transfer that to PA or Ohio?
Yes, you can.
That it makes all the sense in the world to offer that as a class.
I think it's a great idea, and especially when you look at some of our surrounding schools, sports management is actually a degree that you go for.
Right.
Well, to be a part of that, why can't this to understand more of the rules of the game that you're trying to be a part of, even if it's not necessarily that you get everyone to be an official, because you already said it. I had 28 people in the class, 13 did. So you may have 30 people take the class, but if you got 10 out of it and they went to Think about it. Niagara University offers things for sports management. You easily can do something at ECC. You've got N-Trip. You've got a lot of schools that offer stuff just like this. That I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, Dennis was pushing this. I want to say he introduced the idea to Section 6 at one point to try and, but that's not their, they don't have anything to do with the curriculum of the school, but colleges should pick up on
I think high school would be tough to do just because there'll be so many opportunities and how you're going to have somebody teach it, right?
Yeah.
But I do think from a college standpoint, I think that's a great idea because you could also be talking about, you got guys that that do this for a living. Right, that are refs for a living, and that's why they do football, basketball, baseball, or lacrosse, or whatever sports they are. I guarantee you go to those guys and you say, hey, listen, will you teach an 8-week class? You got an hour a day, and we're going to pay you X amount of money? That they're going to be willing to do that.
Those are some pretty good ideas. I think that's something that we should talk about. But one thing that I do at scrimmages in the summer is I tell the kids, we get maybe six teams, and I tell the kids, there will be a day when you're not able to play anymore, and that day will be coming.
Yeah.
And then what do you do afterwards? You could officiate, and some of the guys kind of sicker, but it's true. We officiate because we love the game. We played the game. I love the game. And again, the day that I have to resign, I have to retire because I can't do it anymore, will be a very, very sad day. So then what do I do after that? Maybe drive a bus.
In the 38 years,
yes,
have you, and it's got to be true, you had to have done a game where a kid was playing in it to join you on the field one day as an official. That's had to have happened, I would hope.
Yes, it has.
Okay. Any stories you could share of anyone in
well,
particular?
no. So once in a while, they'll say, "Hey, I remember when you officiated, my game," or some of the other characters that we have in our organization will say, "I remember when so and so officiated our game, and it was just so much fun, and it looked like you were having fun," which is the truth. Let's not. It is the truth. I think a lot of us would work for nothing because we just enjoy it so much. But we expect to be paid, because there's a lot of training involved. There are expenses involved. We pay annual dues. We have to pay money for our uniforms and keeping ourselves in shape. And but it's just I can't express to you how much fun it is to stay involved in the game and to be on the field. You've got the best seat in the house.
Now, let me ask you a question. How often are you sitting there on Sundays at a Bills game and you see a call on the field? Do you have to shake your head or scratch your head and say, wait a second, that's not...
No, I'm amazed at how often they get it right.
Okay.
You say, wow, I don't know about that call. And then you see it on instant replay, slow motion. They got it right, which is amazing, just amazing.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about going to a higher level? Has anyone from your organization gone on to the collegiate ranks or even the pro ranks?
Oh yeah. Many of our guys have gone on to the college ranks, but there's a lot of commitment in that. There are some guys over the years who've had a Friday night game. They got to go home early because they got to get up early to drive to Maryland or Pennsylvania to do a game. That's a full day. So they're doing a Friday night high school game. They get in their car. They go to Maryland or Pennsylvania or New Jersey to do a game, and then they come home the same day. That's a full day. That's 18, 19, 20 hours of commitment. If you really want to do it, that's fine. I because of my position and what I did for a living, there was no way I could do that. I did think about it, but I just couldn't put in the time.
What was your most rewarding experience so far in your 38 years of officiating? What's been the most rewarding? What's been the funnest atmosphere you've been in? You've been in a lot of different fields. What is I got to believe the Section 6 championships are the most rewarding, but have you done any of the state finals?
I've never been able to do the state finals. No.
Okay.
We have a rating system, and it goes, what goes around comes around, I guess, but I've never been rated in the top 10. We have 80 some officials. I've always been kind of close, but never never won the cigar.
But what's your favorite stadium, if you will, in West New York? Can you say that, or you don't want to?
Well, I'll tell you.
What's your favorite place to go?
Newfane just opened up a new stadium. Oh my God, it is just a gorgeous stadium. It's at their high school. Their old field was at their middle school. What a beautiful field. There are so many. We could go down the list. I mean, Cheektowaga has a great field. Orchard Park had was one of the early ones that had a turf field. Beautiful field. but it's amazing how quickly they get worn out and they have to be replaced. The field at Bennett was just replaced. It's just gorgeous, just a gorgeous field. That got worn out real quick and almost to the point of being dangerous. But there are so many real fun fields, and you know one of the places that I love going to. It's a distance to drive. I loved going to Medina, and I loved going to Albion because in those towns, those small towns, Friday night football is a big event. You got the whole town come out. It's just amazing. I love going there. I will never criticize or complain about having to drive to Albion, which is from my house in North Tonawanda. It's 44 miles. I don't care. I would do it every week. I love it.
I remember the first time I went out to Albion for a game. I put Albion High School in the GPS, and all that was coming up was the correctional facility. I'm like, oops. So I was I went to there it is, it's right next to it, Albion Correctional Facility, and I was thinking, Dal, in the back of my head, if someone gets unruly here or out of line, it's a real short trip to where you're going to end up.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We've talked about that. Tom and I were talking before, and at the beginning of each year, parents sign a waiver for a code of conduct. And I was telling Tom, I gave him my thoughts, and Francis, and I shared it with our audience that, I think that we don't hold our parents or our fans accountable enough when they sign that letter, when they sign a code of conduct on behavior. We don't necessarily always hold them accountable for what they're signing, meaning we hear it all. We're in the press box. We walk up and down the bleachers, and we hear the comments, and they're just sometimes over the top. And the language, we just think that, obviously, that hurts your recruiting.
Yes, it does.
What can schools do, if anything, to really curb that? Because they already have the code of conduct.
We hear it. We hear it from time to time in the schools, in the public schools. We do. I'll tell you a story about a group of parents that we encountered last year, 2 years, whatever. But I think most of the problems come in the youth sports. Parents who think their young kid is going to be an all-star, is going to be the next Tom Brady. Yeah, maybe that kid will be. But to abuse officials the way they do and the language they use is just uncalled for. And last year, after 2 weeks, we had 2 officials quit because of the abuse that they took. But maybe they were not cut out for officiating. You have to be a special person. You have to have a special personality. You have to have thick skin to be able to officiate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really do.
Have you ever been a part of a group or ever seen where a group of officials left the game early because of unruly fans? That's got to happen at times.
We can call a game. Okay. Yeah, we can call a game. If the organization doesn't want to handle it, we're out of there.
And has that come up in your 38 years?
To me, no, it hasn't. But I know of situations where it has been a problem, and the officials on the field felt threatened. They're out of there. So and we back them up. If the groups, the football groups don't want to handle their crowd, but that doesn't often happen. Normally, if we say that parent has to leave, most of the time that parent will leave, and they are escorted out.
Do you see that parent again a week later?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, in terms of high school, a couple of years ago, last year, whatever it was, we had a game where the visiting team they were having a tough time. There were fouls called against them because they were warranted, and they lost the game. And we could hear the cat calls on their side, parents or fan, whatever. And as we were walking off the field, we were met by some of those fans who had some nasty things to say to us, that we should be embarrassed. We're going to report you to Section 6. That was awful. You guys were terrible. Well, as it turned out, a couple weeks later, we had that same team. It's kind of unusual that you have the same team in the same season, but it was a playoff game. So we had that same team. Our crew had that same visiting team. They were visiting team again. They had a much better game that time. They won the game. That same group of parents met us at the gate and said, "You guys were great. You were the best crew all season long. Wish we had you all season." Come on, really? Same crew, same parents. Come on.
Well, I mean, that's a story. Now, okay, so then you guys go to the watering hole after.
Yeah.
Do you talk about the parents and what you heard? Do you talk about the games?
Sure we do.
Everything.
I mean, we do. Try to keep our conversations down to a dull roar.
Now,
But
Tom,
we do. I mean, you can't help it. I mean, we all experience it, and it's we call what we see what you call, and we don't go out there. I don't care who wins, who loses. I don't care. I have no vested interest in any of us have any vested interest in who wins or loses. We just call a fair game. We call what we see, and try to keep it reasonable. But
now, where did you go to school? Did you grow up in Western New York? Because I don't really know much about you from WYRK on. Did you go to Damon?
No, I went to Niagara University.
Niagara University,
Yeah.
okay.
Went to Sweet Home, kindergarten through 12.
Okay.
I'm a Western New York guy.
Okay.
Born and raised. Although most of my family is gone out of town, I stayed here. My job was here, so it's just so much fun.
There's rumors that Clay, your old buddy from WRK, wants to do play-by-play for WNY Athletics. There's rumors floating around.
Are there?
Jake Fyock told me a couple times that Clay wants your number.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's East Aurora or not.
Yes, he is.
He is.
No,
okay.
he's Hamburg. I'm sorry.
Hamburg.
He's from East Aurora.
He wants to get involved if time allows to maybe do some play-by-play. Would you recommend him? You know, I mean, we'd have to call his references to make sure he's quality.
Well,
on-air
experience would be the
personality.
question. Experience. I don't know how much experience he has. That would be the question I have. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. You know, he's got a family of 5 now.
Wow. He's not doing
Three-
games.
No, he's
There's
got
no
4.
way
I'm
he's
sorry, he's
gonna-
got 4. He just his wife gave birth to a baby girl.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, he's got no time.
All right, let me bring this back around, Dale. Okay, so we got to talk about a rule that I have been very vocal about for the past couple of years because I do not think it's been something that has been beneficial to high school sports, and that is the penalty behind the line of scrimmage, where it is literally can be, as you know, a 17, 20-yard, 22-yard penalty that has been a deterrent, I think, really to be the success for high school sports in football, right? It is now finally, I think, come to fruition.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
We have said for years and years it's the most damaging penalty in football. If there is a foul behind the line of scrimmage, holding, the penalty, a 10-yard penalty, is assessed from the spot of the foul. So if the hold happens 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the penalty is assessed from that 7 yards. That makes it's just almost
A 17-yard penalty.
it's a 17-yard penalty, very hard to overcome. Well, the NFHS Rules Committee has determined that that's no longer going to be the way we're going to assess it. It'll be from the previous spot.
Yeah.
So a 10-yard penalty, no matter how far behind the line of scrimmage, will be assessed from the previous spot.
Which I think finally, right?
Yeah.
It has been something I've been, if you've heard any of the broadcasts, I'm usually every game making some sort of a comment about.
Any others?
No, I think that was honestly the biggest one, and I was
Oh,
really glad
absolutely.
to see. So you, as an as a ref out there,
Mm-hmm.
is there one that you say, boy, I really would like this rule looked at?
Well, the one we were just discussing, that is the one. A change that was made a couple of years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, was roughing the passer. Roughing the passer is not. It used to be an automatic first down. It is now no longer. It is not that now. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. So if you had a 1st and 20, it would be a 1st and 5. It is not an automatic first down.
I thought
on
roughing the passer,
No.
roughing the kicker, roughing the holder were all first downs.
No.
So when did that?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, roughing. I'm sorry. I'm talking about pass interference.
Oh,
Pass
okay. Yes.
interference.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Because I was like, wait a second. I knew
Yeah,
there was
roughing is an automatic first down.
Right.
Pass interference.
Correct.
Used to be an automatic first down. It is no longer. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Well, I will say with this rule changing of the holding behind the line of scrimmage, hopefully in almost all cases, it should still equate to a first down at least. And I'm not saying everyone, but I mean for 8.5 times out of 10, you're probably not going to be longer than 15 yards, hopefully, and it's not going to get out of control where we were seeing 27, 30, you know what I mean? Some ridiculous ones.
Well, when you see a team that has a third and 30, hard to overcome those penalties.
Yep, no doubt about it. And that's where you're hoping that first down would have automatically come into play on some sort of passing interference type call.
Right.
But
I think a lot of parents don't understand that.
Right.
They think that we're messing it up. We don't know the rule. We don't know. Oh, you don't know the rule. That's a first down. It's not. And so often we hear stadium announcers saying that's an automatic first down. No, it's not.
No. On air, we're very adamant about that. That is not an automatic first down. It absolutely is 15 yards. But what would you rather see? Would you rather see it mimic the upper sports? Because when it mimics upper sports, there's more of an understanding about it, or do you like the rule in place the way it is?
As we go along, we find that scholastic high school sports grow closer and closer to college rules, and college rules grow closer and closer to NFL rules. And as we go along, that happens. In high school, holding is a 10-yard penalty. If it's a defensive hold in the NFL, it's a 5-yard penalty, an automatic first down. That's sometimes tough. I don't know that I would like to see that, but I like the rules as they are now.
Good.
And one of the other rules that was adopted in the past couple of years was a quarterback outside the pocket. He can.
That was a big rule change because literally there was a lot of grounding calls back before that rule. Nobody understood that because they thought they were throwing the ball away, and it was a grounding call. In fact, I remember a big playoff game in Orchard Park at Janka. Dylan Janka, the quarterback back at the time, rolls out, throws one out of bounds, flag it. It almost cost a big game because of the call that was there. So that was one I liked. I really liked when I saw them go ahead and change. That was just last year, right? 2 years ago?
I think it was last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, sometimes you lose track. But I thought it was a great rule change.
I remember that one. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's the one. The holding behind the line was one that we always talked about, and that has changed beginning this fall. I like it. I can't. I wish I had one of my other buddies with me. Maybe they could think of something. But
and this was just us. Yeah, that was the one I think that at least I know I was most vocal about, and I do a lot of games with Stu Boyer, and Stu would say the same thing. He knew that one drove me nuts just because it was. It did. It felt like that drive was automatically over when that holding happened.
Absolutely. Those are tough.
That's a lineman's father talking. So that's where you get a lot of that from. Yeah. But Luke have any holdings this year?
No. He honestly didn't.
I don't think he did.
Really?
Yeah, no, he didn't.
He was proud of that.
He was. In fact, he took a lot of pride in that. And, that would be, another great question because you hear this all the time in the NFL, right? And just curious as what your thoughts are. They say that you could probably call a penalty on every play. Is that what you feel?
Well, you get an offensive lineman or defensive lineman saying, he's holding. I can't see it. If you can't see it, you can't call it. If he's in here and he's got a hold of your jersey, we can't see it. Yeah. We don't know.
Right.
And show it to us. But, if he reaches out, if that offensive lineman reaches out as he's trying to get around, that's an obvious call. That's an easy call. But when they're in here like this, you can't tell.
But when they're in here, is that a hold by the sense of the word?
If they got the jersey, yeah, they're holding.
But it's so tight. It's so tight in that region with the pads on.
Yeah.
I have always heard this, and we'll take a break in just a second, but especially when the game's on the line, a close game, coming down to the wire, you let the misdemeanors go, you call the felonies.
Some have that philosophy from the beginning of the game. Call them felonies.
Okay.
Let the misdemeanors go. Let them play. But there are some that are so obvious to everybody that you have to call.
Okay.
Sometimes when the game is close, you kind of let the players decide it. Okay. And I think your thinking might be a little bit different toward the end of the game. But that's just a philosophy from official to official.
Kind of like in an NHL overtime game that goes 4 periods.
Oh my God!
Did you stay up for that?
I did.
I did too.
I'm thinking.
I was dreading last night.
Are we? Huh?
I was dreading last night when they went to overtime.
I know. I was thinking 5 overtimes. I don't know. It was 2 o'clock in the morning when it ended.
Were you there the night Dave Hannon scored?
I did. I was.
What? I couldn't recall the final score. Was that 4-3 Buffalo? Do you
I
remember?
don't recall.
I don't
recall the
either.
score. I know, but wow, what a game! What a game! Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Dale Musson from WNY CFO in just a little bit. You're watching WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
You're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Welcome back to WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. If you're just joining us today, it is Saturday, May 20th. You got girls softball seating going on. You got flag football seating going on. You got ECIC.
Boys base softball's already started.
Softball already started. Baseball seating going on. I owe Francis $20, and flag football seating going on as well. ECIC track going on. If you don't know what you can do and you got time and you want to go see some superior athletes all across Western New York
Or watch
today,
them on the NFHS network.
well, are we doing NFHS today?
Oh,
Yeah, we're not
there's
doing
nothing going on today.
No, there's track
The
going on
seeding
today.
Oh, seeding. Oh,
Well,
okay.
the weather looks pretty rough, but
Oh,
And-
they'll run in this.
Yeah.
okay. Former track star over there.
So hold on, before we go anywhere, now that you've talked about the bet again, you got to tell them what the bet was all about.
Dale, do you have any anything to do with the WYRK Twitter handle?
Not now, no.
Okay. Can you text someone for me and tell them to retweet Francis's tweet from last night?
It's too late. It's after 10 o'clock.
So the bet last night was, I said, when you make the announcement on Twitter that we're having Dale in, tag WYRK because they'll retweet it for us. And he's like, I'll give you $15 if they do it. I'm like, I'll give you $20 if they don't. And they didn't.
They did?
I don't think they did.
Oh, okay.
I got to go back. Did they, Francis? Have you checked it all?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Of course he's not checking. It would cost them $15 if they did.
I'll check it right now.
But anyways, so we'll square up later.
I got to mention Dick Gallagher. I just noticed the picture behind you. What a great guy. You know, what amazed me is that he showed up at so many games, so many high school games. He was always on the sideline, and he knew every one of the officials by name. He was an amazing guy, and he always had a joke for you. Always had a dumb joke, you know, but whatever. But he'd make you laugh. He just had such a great personality, and boy, I miss that guy. I miss him
Great
so
guy.
much. I often thought, what are we going to do? What is high school sports going to do without him? You know, it's tough, and I think you guys are picking up the slack.
We're trying to, you know, Dick was one guy. We're on a regular basis. There's probably, like I was telling Tom and Francis, this year we had like at least 46 people receive some kind of stipend for doing something in the past year for WNY Athletics. Dick did it all himself.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he didn't do live streaming, but he was everywhere. And he did that magazine for football every week on WGRZ. We tried to do that. Remember, I was trying to do it. I couldn't even keep up with that. How is this guy doing it? Dick's
And
missed.
the banquet.
The banquet. You were at our banquet this past year. I don't know if we did a good as job as Dick did. We downsized that thing a little bit because Dick had an award for everybody.
He sure did.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Including the officials. I mean, he had an official
He
award
did.
every
He
single
did.
year.
He did. And we gave 2 out this year.
Yeah,
One
well,
north and one
He
south.
did 2 also. He did
Yeah.
the 2
Yeah,
that
we
were
followed that up, you know, and we're going to continue doing that banquet. It's important to Western New York that we continue that tradition. It's important to the football community more than anything. We have to recognize those players.
I was so glad that that tradition will continue.
Yep, we'll continue with that. We obviously didn't have John Murphy this past year. I don't know if we'll get him back, but Stu Boyer did a phenomenal job back in December, and I'm sure he'll be happy to do it once again now that the football schedule's out, high school and the NFL, we should be able to pick a date and go from there and have that. And, of course, we'll have the officials back and recognize 2 of the top officials. But you brought it, Dick Gallagher, so I was going to bring this up in maybe the closing segment, but might as well stick on the topic. In your 38 years of doing this, who are some of those characters, football coaches, players, administrators?
Players. So some of the players, over the years I've been able to see include Rob Gronkowski, who played at Will North. He was a sophomore when I saw him. He was a skinny sophomore kid, but he just was something special about him. He could catch anything that was near him. He'd have 3 defenders around him, and he'd still come up with the ball. And he was only a sophomore, but I think he ended up in Pittsburgh for his final 2 high school years, and of course headed for the Hall of Fame in the NFL. Punter Brett Kern. I saw him play at Grand Island. Just an amazing leg. He could belt the ball almost out of the stadium, and he had a long career with the Titans. So who did he end up with? He was traded, or
was it not Minnesota? I don't know exactly, but I thought he's still kicking.
He's still kicking. He still is. Also got to see Isaiah McDuffie play at Bennett High School, wound up with the Green Bay Packers. James Starks, also with the Packers after a career at Niagara Falls. Naaman Roosevelt, he spent some time with the Bills. I remember I was a back judge in a game at St. Joe's, and he was on me so quick I couldn't even think. He was quick. Corey Graham also spent some time with the Bills. He played at Turner Carroll. Joe Licata had a great career at Will South as a quarterback, spent some time with the Bengals. And one of the other ones I had here, I'm trying to think, somebody else. But, I mean...
There's Stephen Means right now. He was at, I can't remember the high school, but Grover, might have been Grover, but he's with the Baltimore Ravens.
Right now, yeah. So you never know what future stars are going to be
coaches
playing
too, though.
In your game. Huh?
Coaches, like you had to have the Polians at some point.
Polian?
Yeah, from St. Francis. Went on to have good coaching careers.
The Polians, yes, that's
so
correct, yes.
The guys that maybe not have gone on to have good careers athletically at the next level, but they went on to have good coaches' careers. Coach Smith, Jerry Smith's son, is now with the Giants. Yep. Tom's a huge Giants fan.
Also, Tasker. A couple
Luke
of
Tasker,
Tasker's sons played at St. Francis. Yeah. You never know. And just great stars, great athletes. You never know. But I wanted to mention, if anybody's interested in officiating, and you want to officiate football, I would invite you to go to our website, wnycfo.com, and we have a recruiting section, WNY, Western New York, Certified Football Officials, CFO.com. Go to the recruiting section. You leave your name and address. Your name and email address, and we'll contact you. We'll let you know when our classes are and when to sign up.
Actually, I want to ask this. You kind of touched on it with coaches. Sometimes some of those coaches and those linemen like to really go at it sometimes on the sideline. Are you ever a linesman? Are there any coaches that maybe have a little bigger personalities than others during the game?
I remember a coach at when I worked the lines. I still work, the lines from time to time. Mostly is at referee, but there was a coach at Albion who would say things about the game and about the officiating through his assistants. So in essence, he's saying things to us, and then you turn around and say, "That's enough. That's enough. We heard it. We get it. That's enough." But they use little techniques like that. I don't think that was a very good call. Did you?
I had a question for you.
You better watch out. You're going to start giving some tricks away too.
This is a good question, and maybe it'll enlighten some of the people that are out there that are watching and attend these games. Why don't we talk about the officials' roles and what they're looking at, what their assigned duty is on any given day? You have the head linesman. You have the back judge. Can you go through the different positions? There's 5 at each game. And what are they looking for? Because a lot of times you'll see a fan start screaming at one official that's necessarily not in charge of this particular call that you're looking for. So can you go through the different positions?
As a fan, you watch the ball.
Of
you
course.
watch the ball
Yes.
from when it's snapped to the quarterback, as it's traveling down the field to the receiver's hands. You're watching the ball. we're not watching the ball. We're watching players on the field. The referee is mainly his primary responsibility is the quarterback. We're watching the quarterback. We're watching also a line play. We're watching usually, if I'm to the right of the quarterback, I'm watching the left tackle. Watching the left tackle, any holding there. If there's nothing there, I'm watching any hits on the quarterback. Watching him, watching what he does with the ball, and
he's behind the quarterback.
And who?
This referee.
The referee's always behind the
This
quarterback.
guy's behind the quarterback.
Behind
Okay.
the quarterback and usually on his passing hand.
Okay.
On the side, normally to the right. And there are some times because I'm concentrating on the quarterback and what happens to him after he throws the ball. There are times I have no idea what happened downfield. The ball was intercepted. The ball was fumbled. The ball was incomplete. I have no idea because I'm doing my job. The umpire will be watching he'll be watching the line play. He'll be trying to concentrate on a couple of players. If he gets complaints about certain players, he'll be watching them.
Okay.
And if there's no problem on the line of scrimmage, he'll turn his head to help out in any downfield passes.
Okay.
The linesman and the line judge, they're both on opposite ends, on the sidelines. They're watching for false starts or encroachment, and they're following any receivers downfield on their side. And the back judge, he's concentrating usually on the strong side, on receivers on the strong side, following them, and he's got calls downfield. And the linesman, the judge, and the back judge are all kind of making eye contact to make sure that they've got the right call. And that's basically what we do. We've all got areas of responsibility, and we're not all just watching the ball.
So the back judge, if I'm hearing you correctly, and if I could picture this, there's a play. Quarterback's going deep for a receiver. That back judge then is looking at the strong side or the intended target, and he's watching for feet, a catch.
On the sideline, yeah.
Okay.
Whoever has the ball, he'll watch for the ball to make sure that it's caught.
Okay.
The guy that's behind, if he doesn't have view of the ball, he's watching the feet.
Okay.
And then it just switches if it's the other way around.
Okay.
So if the back judge has the ball, he's watching for the ball, and the other linesman or line judge, he's watching for the feet. You make eye contact, yes, it's a good catch, or out of bounds.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you for explaining that, and I think that will help for our viewers that are watching and listening. Tom, do you have a question too?
No, I want to let you know something. So we had a couple comments on the Facebook thread, and it was brought up that at Ken East basketball, there are 2 officers at those games at all times. So there are some schools that are doing what you're asking for right there. And they actually said, and I don't have that it was a fact because it is somebody telling this, but there was a parent ban for the entire year from basketball. So
I didn't give a shout out. I hate to interrupt this portion, but I didn't give props to Kenmore East, and I should have. Kenmore East beat Ken West on Monday in baseball, Francis, and I thought we were talking about maybe going to the game, and I said, yeah, well, Kenmore West is going to demolish them. I forgot until that day that my buddy Molnar was on the hill for East, a senior, and he got to pitch in probably his last game ever against Kenmore West, and I told him, listen, man, just go out and just give it everything you got because this is probably going to be your last time ever facing West. And he did. He pitched a very good game, so shout out to the young man, Mr. Molnar there. I know I want to say he's going to Canisius, not necessarily for baseball, he'll try, but this is a kid who battled back from a serious injury maybe a year and a half ago. He got to play, I think he played last year, a little bit last year, maybe towards the end. But he's had a really good year. And Kenmore East, I want to say they've won 7 out of their last 8 going into the playoffs. What that means for the postseason, I don't know. But I know they beat a Niagara Falls team. They beat that Ken West team. Did they beat Niagara Wheatfield too? I think they beat Niagara Wheatfield in that stretch, Lockport. So congrats to Les Simon and his Kenmore East Bulldogs on getting past my Ken West Blue Devils.
We'll be sitting as a 3 seed. A
Ken
3
East
seed
turned
in
a 3
A2.
seed?
Ken East
Good
will
for
be
you
a 3
guys.
seed.
Good for you guys. That's a program that's, struggled with some over the years, and it's a proud program. Ken East baseball at one time was really a proud program, and they still are, but they've had some down years. But Les has done a good job of working. They got the new field. They brought the pitching machine in, and I think that really helps. So kudos to Kenmore East. And little Molnar there, good job. I say little Molnar, the kid's about 7 feet tall. But anyways, good job, guys. Good job. Back to officiating. When is the right time to really get someone involved? Because I believe you had alluded to earlier that you wish you got in earlier than you did.
Oh, absolutely. I was in my 30s when I first started. I wish I had been able to get involved when I was in my 20s. You know,
Okay.
We find a lot of the people that show interest in officiating are retired. So that means a lot of these guys are in their 50s. So that, you know, their time with us is going to be limited. We would love to have guys start early, as we were talking about, you know, maybe youth programs or some kind of a feeder program. We would love to have, we just love it when young guys in their 20s start up with us. But when you start talking about young men in their 20s, then they have commitments with families, and that kind of digs into their time.
Certainly.
So that's a problem too. But we've been doing pretty well trying to recruit the younger officials, and we just keep our fingers crossed that their jobs don't take them out of town, and that they stay with us, and that their family commitments don't become so overwhelming that they have to quit.
Would you take a guy who can only officiate one game a week? Or would that be tough?
Well, you know, you really...
Because you mentioned it's a commitment.
I know. It is. And you got to understand that most of the games you're going to be doing are on Saturdays. You know, for Little League, when you first start out, the Little League games are on weekends.
But you'll do
and
more
if you
than
can't
one.
work weekends, you're not going to help us.
But you'll do more than one. So you're going to get paid for, and I think you said they get paid cash right at the
They
field.
get cash right there. Some of these games pay $60-$65 a game, and so you're getting paid right there as you walk off the field. So the upfront costs, that's sometimes a bit of a problem, because in your first year you have to pay for your fingerprinting. You have to be cleared by the state education department. You have to pay for your dues, your annual dues. You have to pay for your football uniform and equipment. So we figure that's about a good $500 bill to get started. But if you figure you're going to get most of that back in your first year, in your first month, really, it works out. A lot of people are put off by the upfront costs, but when you think of how much money you're going to make down the line, it really kind of solves that problem.
Okay, so I'll do this, Dale. WNY Athletics will do this. You said the next recruiting class is going to be next February, did you say?
We start usually the last week in January, first week in February.
Okay.
You want to join?
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
WNY Athletics will sponsor 2 officials. We'll take care of their upfront costs next January, February. I want you to hold me to it. You find 2 officials that want to do it that may not have the means to get started. We are going to take care of the costs for 2 officials next year.
That's another issue that Section 6 has also addressed, because for officials in their first 3 years, they provide a $200, let's call it a scholarship, and they pay for all those upfront costs.
Okay.
And all you have to do is save your receipts and send in a voucher, and you know you'll be compensated for those costs. And there's also, wanted to talk about, almost forgot to mention the Battlefields to Ball Fields program, B2B.
Oh.
And it allows veterans to get involved in officiating, and they pay all of your costs.
Wow.
If you're a veteran, U.S. veteran. Let me see if I have that. Yeah, it's a Battlefields to Ball Fields, B2B, nonprofit group created by former NFL head of officiating Mike Piera. You'll remember that, you know that name.
See him every Sunday.
That's right. He's the lead rules analyst for Fox Sports, NFL, and college football games. Well, Battlefields to Ball Fields is essentially a scholarship program to help pay for some of the upfront costs that officials encounter. The requirements is that you have to be currently serving or have served in the United States military. You must live in the United States, and you must be a first-year official and have not officiated before. It also provides candidates a 3-year scholarship, including a starter uniform kit for the sport you select, pays for the local chapter's annual dues, pays for the insurance, and a subscription to Referee Magazine. Essentially pays for almost all of your upfront costs.
That's very cool.
B2B, great program.
That's very cool, Dale. So you got me. You got a commitment out of us.
Well, that's fantastic.
You know,
I love hearing that.
hold us
That
to
great.
it.
I appreciate that.
When do you guys start getting together, or is it year round? You guys are, because you only do football. do you then disappear January, February, March, or just because you got your training? But do you guys have regular monthly meetings or online things that you do to stay?
That's also part of the commitment too, is to you attend at least 6 meetings. We have 8 or 9 scheduled during the fall.
Okay.
So beginning the second week in August through November, you must attend 6 meetings, and maybe that's a requirement that some guys can't handle. Our meetings are usually Monday nights from 7 to 8:30, and there we talk about plays that happened. We've got videos that we view. We talk about enforcement, things that might have happened. We discuss all that.
Okay.
But we're also now doing flag football. So I had a game last night, had a great time, and afterwards we went out for a post game. We had a fish fry, and so again, many of these people are some of the best friends in my life, and we hang out all the time.
You said you heard some things on the flag football field that you'll never hear on the.
Yeah, you will hear things on a girls' flag football field you'll never hear during a boys' game, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you okay?" You'll never hear that on a boys' field, never.
Are the rules? I mean, there's obviously a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. We're going into it. Was it more similar or more different than you expected?
More different. It's a lot different because you have to really change your mindset, because in flag football there's no contact, or there's times when players can't help but collide, but it can't be intentional, and that's a tough thing. It's only our second year with flag football, and it's a complete different mindset, and defenders must avoid offensive players trying to get in their way. They can't actually block.
Yeah, they
just
do
have
the
to get
behind
in
the
their
back
way.
thing.
That's right. So their hands, offensive linemen must have their hands behind their back, or like this, or down here like this. They can't have their hands out like this. They can't give anybody a hip check. It's a different way of officiating football, and we're still trying to get to where we're making mistakes too. It's completely different.
So, late breaking news. You guys are on the subject of flag football. Tom, were you there too?
I literally just retweeted it. So,
Division 1 top seed is Clarence, followed by Will North, Sweet Home, Orchard Park, Niagara Wheatfield. In Division 2, Pioneer, the top seed, followed by Amherst, North Tonawanda, Will East, and then Will South. Division 3, Lackawanna, the top seed there, followed by Depew, Buffalo Academy of Science, Dunkirk, the 4th seed, JFK, Cheektowaga, Sloan is the 5th seed. So those are your 3 divisions.
I had Clarence last night. Outstanding. A lot of talented players on that team. They can throw. They can catch. They can kick. I mean, it's just incredible what I saw last night.
They're a very well coached team too.
Yes. Yeah.
Only their first year. I mean, I saw a game from them. They looked like they've been playing together for 5-10 years.
Outstanding. I was really impressed with their coaching. Some of the play selections, they were outstanding. I had Will East earlier this week too. Very good team.
Nice. Dale, do you guys do like scouting of other officials, or do you guys, like, you mentioned this point system or grading system? So do you have like people that are at the game scouting you?
Oh yes.
Okay.
During our games, yes, we
Okay.
have people that are scouting. Well, it happens a lot at the JV level, and one of our old timers would always be in the stands, and you would never see him during the first half. And at halftime, he'd come down and he'd have a legal pad of all these things that he observed during the game. And I'm thinking, well, there was just a routine game here. How could you come up with that many notes? And he'd say, hey, good job on this, but you might want to try doing this instead. I think you were out of position on this particular play. Good feedback, always positive, really good feedback. And we do that for varsity games too. We have some of our retired officials who volunteer to go to game and observe particular officials.
Nice. All right. What else about the officials that we didn't cover that you want to get out? We don't have a whole heck of a lot of time left, so I know that I don't want to shortchange you guys at all. I love the fact that we were finally able to have you guys on. I think we need to do more of this, more outreach with people being welcomed into the fraternity of officials. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure we got out?
No, I think we mostly covered it. It's just again, it's a crisis in all sports, and so the section website has a way for you to sign up for the sport of your choice. You know, there's bowling, there's track and field, there's soccer,
officials
and volleyball.
for bowling?
Did I read that? Did I read that right?
That's a new one for me. Official for bowling.
Oh, I had it printed out, and I didn't take it with me. I had
right.
a list of all the sports, but they need officials in every sport.
Yeah.
And if you go to the section website, it will. They have a tab there for officials, and then a link to sign up for various sports. And I wonder about those that choose football as, you know, one of the sports that they're interested in. You know, I reach out to these people. I don't hear back from them, which is very, very discouraging and disappointing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I don't think I could ever do the job. I think I'd be a disgrace to the uniform because I'd miss everything. You guys know me. I have severe ADHD at times. I'll forget I'm working. How often do I forget that I'm doing a game, Tom? I get the score right.
Listen, when your focus is there, your focus is there. There's no doubt.
For all of 30 seconds.
But it's tough. You've got to, like you said, started this off. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have a very thick skin. There are a lot of things that you have, like you know, somebody yelling from the stands that is from the stands. You got to just let that go. And there are some people who just can't let those go.
Right. From the stands, you have no choice. You got to let it go.
That's why
you have to have the thick skin.
That's why we talked about it. What's starting to happen, like you said, at least at football, it's up in the stands. You know, basketball, some of the officials are this close to a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get in their ear and
Sure
tell them
they
how
will.
bad they
Yeah,
are.
right.
And baseball and softball is where Francis is sitting. To me, is how close I am to home plate.
With
at
just
times.
defense, which is not at all soundproof.
No, so I mean, there are things I think that we can get better at.
When you guys have these meetings in season, out of season, do you guys ever bring in some of the coaches to try to explain to them maybe some of the rules better? I mean,
there was a preseason rules meeting.
I think
among
I've
all the
been there.
Coaches, yes.
Yeah, I think I've been there. There'd be one of your Dan
Finucane. John Drobitz is our
John
interpreter.
I would run into. Yeah,
Yeah.
John would be the one that's explaining the rules to the coaches. There's not a lot of back and forth there, though, and I thought there would be. This guy's explaining new rules,
Right.
interpreting, and I would expect more coaches to kind of.
I would expect that too, and also when we have scrimmages in the summer when we do have them, I always ask the players, do you have any questions about rules and the way they're enforced and how they're intended? And nobody ever has a question. And I also use that time to tell these guys, I think we mentioned that before too, hey, sometime down the line, you might want to officiate, keep it in the back of your mind.
And Dale, that's changed. There's not really that scrimmage week
No, I know.
anymore.
I know
so,
that.
So
hurts.
that has changed a lot of things on how you enter into a season.
Right. We go in cold.
Yeah.
And the players and coaches are going in cold too.
Yeah. No, I
so,
agree.
You know, when we have those scrimmages, it gives people a chance to put some of these new rules into effect and into practice. And when you just start off the season cold, well, you know, you get what you get.
Yeah. You know, maybe one idea is a lot of these teams, though, are doing like these half-field scrimmages, in essence, during the week. Maybe that's a way we can start. They start incorporating you guys even to just bring you in to get acclimated both ways.
Well, Mike Masters has a program that he runs the last couple of Junes.
Right, the 7-on-7s.
The 7-on-7s, you know, and I think that's very helpful for
you
a
know,
lot of schools.
or to be honest with you, more than the 7-on-7s, I think these upper camps that are actually hitting, like the linemen's hit and everything, get there, maybe a better opportunity for you guys to come in because they will do full-blown half scrimmages right there.
Certainly has changed from when I was playing high school football. I mean, we would show up in the middle of summer, middle of August, and then we would be done by the end of October. But now it's almost a year-round thing for a lot of players and a lot of schools.
Like I know in the baseball side, like the umpires will actually during indoor batting practice type thing will send umpires just to get in and get acclimated. Yep.
Yeah. We've had in some years we've had some indoor flag football that we've been doing the Epic Center, and there was the place down in Elma.
Salins?
One in
Salins?
Salins, yes, yeah. I think it's very beneficial to a lot of the players to stay in shape all year.
That Bennett team last year.
Unbelievable. Congratulations to them.
Have you,
so happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best team, though, I'll close with this, that you've ever seen in Western New York in all years of doing this, from top to bottom? What was the greatest team you've ever seen that you've ever been a part of officiating crew for?
Some of those, well, I was very, very pleased to see North Tonawanda win a couple of state championships, back-to-back championships. So pleased. And Orchard Park has had a really good run of really good teams, and Lancaster has too.
And so does Sweet Home.
And Sweet Home did too. Yes, John Fowler, one of the nicest men I've ever known, and it was the outpouring of love and affection for that guy at his memorial service was outstanding. I miss that man to this day.
Yeah.
And the memorial to him right as you enter the field at Sweet Home.
Yes.
Very, very well done.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a nice memorial on Thursday for Roger Weiss, who we were told he was asked. What was the story that we had on the last show? Was Chad here? Chad Andrews was telling the story when we did that tribute show where Roger was kicked out, or he had the pictures on his phone.
Yeah,
we were
stadium,
dying.
yeah.
Roger's hilarious. Roger's always hilarious, but Roger would tell you what he thought.
Sure he would. Yeah,
Roger
I know Roger. Yeah.
He would be vocal, and there's a picture Chet has of the official telling Roger to get back or get out, and that was great. I wish I could have talked to Roger about that, because I didn't know that happened.
What sport was that?
It was football. It was a football game. I want to say it was at All High. No, it was Will South. It was Will South because it was a regional game. It was a regional game.
South, or was it at the stadium? No, it
It
wasn't.
it was one of those regional games that was at Will South that year. So probably in the last few years.
You have that picture?
Chad Andrews does, so I'll get it. You'll be able to tell the official.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
You'll know
will
the official.
Yeah.
But we'll close with that
right.
today. And
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're glad to have you on, and tell all the boys that we said hello. They got our support, and
Sure.
we appreciate seeing them before the games. I know that our crews always go out and talk to the officials before and shake hands and make sure that we mention their names on air. Hopefully they like that. They get a kick out of that. And no hate mail.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, we love it. I mean, we're very, very open to that.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
But that was Dale Musson joining us today. Very lucky to have him, Secretary Treasurer for the Western New York CFO.
WNYCFO.com. We're the Western New York Certified Football Officials.
And that's where you could start your journey on becoming a high school football official. We hope you do, and hope this show today, at least the last hour, was very informative. For Francis Beck, the producer of today's show, Tom Prince, I am Frank Wolf. We will see you next week right back here on High School Sports Saturday.